One of the questions we hear pretty often here at CareerFoundry is how to stay inspired as a UI designer. And thanks to the internet, design resources are quite easy to access. With just a few taps and clicks, you can find inspiration anytime and anywhere. In this video, I'll be talking about top websites for UI design inspiration. But before we get started, I would like to find out where you find design inspiration. Let us know in the comments section below. Okay, let's get started. Typography plays a crucial role in any user interface design. Good typography will establish a strong visual hierarchy, provide a graphical balance to your app or website, and set product's overall tone. So typography should guide and inform your users, optimize readability, make your product more accessible, and ensure a great user experience. So the first website I like checking for typography inspiration is Awwwards, and they recognize talent and effort of the best web designers, developers, and agencies across the world. They have many different categories, so if you're looking for some very ambitious web projects, this is the place to start. You can, for example, use their filters and search for websites nominated for their use of typography. And if something catches your eye, you can just click on that thumbnail and examine the project in more detail. I love working with typography, but font pairing is something I often struggle with. Font pairing is for me both quite exciting and confusing at the same time. Choosing the right font for your design can mean the difference between a great user experience and a terrible one. Luckily, there are plenty of resources like FontPair.co out there. FontPair is a typography site helping creators use typography for their creative projects. And I just love browsing their featured pairs. And you can instantly see how these pairs look like together. Many of these fonts are free to use, so you can download them and actually start using them right away. If you have a typeface in mind, let's say Lato, their search function is also very useful because you can just input the name of the type and they will display some very nice suggestions for you. And finally, if you feel like you always resort to using the same typeface, guilty, I use Helvetica everywhere. MyFonts.com, created by a very famous design studio Monotype, is a great resource. You can browse different sans serifs and serifs or even handwritten typefaces and quickly see them in action. The site also allows you to purchase these typefaces. Okay, let's talk about Color. Color is widely considered to be designers' most powerful tool. There's so much more to websites or apps' color palette than randomly choosing different shades and tones. So one of the first pages I visit when working with color palettes is Adobe Color. This tool allows you to create color themes and also explore many already available there. Their trends section is worth checking out. Here you can explore different color palettes currently being popular in different industries, like interface design, for example. If you spot something you like, you can just click on the thumbnail and explore the project in more detail, or even explore the theme and start using it right away if you're using Photoshop or Adobe XD. And here's a very cool thing. So the feature I absolutely love is their extract theme function. If you find a photo on Instagram or on Pinterest that you really like, you can actually just import it to Adobe Color and the tool will extract the color palette that's used in that photo, so you can start using it in your designs. Another really cool resource is called Color Hunt, and this is a user-curated resource that showcases some very beautiful color palettes. You can vote on your favorites using that small heart icon in the bottom left corner of each palette. And by voting, you can actually save it to the folder here on the right, so you can access it later. Also, every color palette has its own unique URL, so you can bookmark it for later, share it with colleagues, share it with clients. And a really cool thing is that you can actually download it as an image and then import it to the software you're using and use Color Picker to start using the colors you want. Okay, Okay, so we spoke about typography and we spoke about color. Now let's talk about animations. Animated user interface elements don't just attract attention, they can really enhance user experience and help guide user flow. Adding animations to your designs can make the product more fun and easier to remember. So just think about apps like Headspace or Duolingo. Their animations are very cool, attract attention, and really enhance user experience. So a site called UI Movement is full of really cool examples of animations used in user interfaces. This is a curated gallery of motion-based interfaces submitted by design community. And the main difference between UI Movements and other design inspiration sites that I mentioned before is that they actually focus solely on UI design. So you can use this site to search for many different elements. So for example, if you have something already in mind, like calendar picker or a button, you can just click one of those hashtags on the left and it will display all different animations, all different button animations. And if you're designing a specific screen, for example, a blog page, you can also explore that. So the second resource that I find really useful for animation inspiration isn't really a website, it's a newsletter, but it's a really good one. It's called UI Animation Newsletter. It's written and curated by Val Head, and she's a speaker, author, and design advocate who really knows her stuff when it comes to UX and UI animation. So if you're interested in finding out how to use animation in your designs and you want to see some really cool examples, I definitely recommend signing to Val's newsletter, and we'll put the link in the description below. So now you're hopefully inspired about color, typography, and animations. Now let's talk about design patterns. So if you don't know design patterns, they're basically a solution to common user interface problems. Basically, design patterns are standard reference points for designers, so they don't have to be redesigning already well-working solutions. One of the websites I use the most for finding UI patterns is Mobbin.design. Mobbin basically takes screenshots of different screens and user flows. You can simply just click on any of the names and see the screens created for this particular app. What is great is that you don't need to download these apps, you don't need to create an account or pay for any subscriptions, you can just see all the screens here. Many apps are not available in app stores in many countries, and Mobbin.design allows you to access these apps. I also like creating libraries with different screens for my projects. You can filter different resources by category or by different pattern. And then you can save it to your favorite and add it to your library so you can access it later. And if you're new to UI patterns, I really recommend you check out uipatterns.com. This site will give you a great overview of different problems that users face. And you will also see very good examples and tips for using the patterns. Last but not least, let's talk about UI design portfolios. Obviously, design portfolio is super important to any designer. A portfolio highlighting your design process and past work really shows others, your clients, your colleagues, your future employers, who you are as a designer. And even the process of creating a design portfolio allows you to really reflect on your skills and achievements. If you're familiar with products from Adobe like Photoshop, Illustrator, Adobe XD or Premiere, you're probably no stranger to Behance. This is the first site I use for finding UI design portfolio inspiration. It's one of the most widely used platforms in the design community, and it's fantastic because when you join the platform, you actually get access to lots of different designers and creatives, and they're very open. They really want to help you and support you and give you feedback on whatever you're creating. Adobe also organizes a lot of community events like Behance Portfolio Review or Creative Jams, so it's definitely worth checking that out. And if you want some alternatives to Behance, I really recommend you check out Dribbble or Cargo. These sites are also fantastic for UI design inspiration. So there you have it. These are my top websites to stay inspired as a UI designer. And remember, there are obviously other ways to stay inspired. You can connect and collaborate with other designers, attend different talks or events or webinars, or simply trying something new, like going to an art gallery or traveling or reading a book. Where do you find design inspiration? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Alright, that's all for today. Stay safe, take care, and see you next time.